Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Andrew Townsend. I'm an e-learning evangelist here with eLearning Brothers. Today, we're going to be talking about never starting from scratch in Lectora. This webinar will be recorded, and we'll get a copy of it sent out to everyone who is registered shortly after the webinar. Today, to talk about our topic, we have Laura Silver of Trivantis and Adam Cannon, one of our e-learning evangelists, with us today. Thank you for joining us, Laura and Adam. We're happy to have you with us and happy to hear what you've got to say. During the webinar, if anybody has any questions, we'll be ready to answer those questions in the questions panel, and I'll try to bring those up to Laura and Adam if they can help us out getting some of those questions answered. So feel free to use that questions panel as you need it. We'll get to as many of those as we can. If we can't get to your question, we'll do the best we can to continue that conversation in the webinar recap or reaching out to you after the webinar. Speaking of reaching out to you, one of the things that we do like to do after the webinar is try to follow up as soon as possible. Sometimes it's just to get feedback. Most of the time, we would like to touch base and find out if anyone needs some one-on-one clarification about the webinar topic after the fact. All right, so without any further ado, I'll go ahead and turn the time over to you, Laura.
Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate the introduction, and thanks so much for having me on the webinar today. Let me go ahead and share my screen and make sure that everyone can see it and that everyone can hear me okay. Sound okay?
We're hearing you great, and we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. So today I'm really pleased to review the latest features with you of what's gone into Lectora Online, Lectora Inspire, as well as ReviewLink. And so I'm going to go through all of our different products with you today and kind of just touch on some of the major features that have gone on in each of them and specifically talk about our integration with the eLearning Brothers libraries in Lectora Online and Lectora Inspire, which we're just really thrilled about, and the value that it adds to our Lectora users in terms of your e-learning creation process. Quick note though, just before I get started and get into any of the demos and features and functions of our products, we are aware that there is a small technical issue with accessing eLearning Brothers if you are on the latest version of Lectora 17, but fear not, there's an update going out with a fix next week, likely on Tuesday. And this is just, you might see a black screen when you're accessing the eLearning Brothers. And you might have an issue if you had bad or outdated display drivers, but not to worry, we've got a fix going out. So if you are having that issue, be sure to check for updates in Lectora Inspire which you can do directly from the help menu. If you don't see that update go out, you can feel free to contact us at support@trivantis.com. Okay, so with that housekeeping out of the way, I want to talk to you a little bit about Lectora Online. Lectora Online is our authoring tool for e-learning development. It's a web-based tool with real-time collaboration, automated versioning and backup, built-in workflow and project management, and now integrated content and content management as well. In Lectora Online's 4.0 release, which went out in November, we introduced a number of new features to improve the end user or the learner experience, as well as make content development faster and more effective. Those two initiatives are always a huge priority for us at Trivantis. So the primary new feature that you'll see here, and we just have a screen cap of the publishing option, is this concept of publish for seamless play. And so when this option is selected within the HTML options tab when you're publishing in Lectora Online, your title is now going to smoothly flow from page to page, eliminating that screen wipe that's commonly associated with HTML pages or when you're navigating through a website. Because Lectora has never published a Flash or isn't any sort of Flash-based player where you click play and lean back and watch your course go. It really truly is an open-ended editor for creating content. This is something that gives you a little bit more of that flashlight experience while still being completely HTML5 underneath the covers. So this is a new default option and one of our biggest changes in the release. It's also something that you'll see in Lectora Inspire as well. So it just allows transitions to really go smoothly from page to page, and it also allows for autoplay on video and audio on mobile devices. So this is a nice benefit of using this feature if you're also creating responsive course content and you want that narration to automatically start as you hit a page, or you want a video to automatically play when your learner launches a page. You'll be able to do that with Publish for Seamless Play. So let me just quickly show you a before and after, or what it looks like when the Publish option is turned on versus turned off. right, so if we look at the before option, this is just a sample title built in Lectora and Lectora Online. And as I navigate from page to page, you'll see there's just a little bit of that loading time, and then the page kind of flashes and launches the next page. And that's all well and good, but we really wanted to improve that end user experience. So we republished the course with this Publish for Seamless Play option turned on. And now you'll see as I navigate from page to page, it's a nice smooth experience. So I can apply any number of transitions to my page. It might be a fade like what you're seeing here, or a wipe. You can really, get funky and kind of do your transitions however you choose, but regardless, it's going to be a really smooth experience for your end user. So this is a publish option that you'll see no matter which type of publish you're doing in Lectora Online. And as I mentioned, this is in Inspire as well. So another major time-saving feature that we've introduced recently in Lectora Online is the ability to import and export questions and tests, either as standalone questions or contained within a test or a survey. So in addition to specifying the correct answer, you can actually do all of this within a standalone Excel or CSV file rather than building it out in your Lectora course. You can do things like assign a point value or include feedback text, define options such as randomization of choices and case sensitivity. So essentially you're able to design your questions or design your tests completely outside of the product, just using something as simple as an Excel file. So this is really useful, for example, if you want to hand off that job or task to your subject matter expert or any other parties who you want to say, hey, I would like to assign this piece of development work to you. Can you go ahead and create these questions and tests? And then you can just simply import them into Lectora. So that's sort of the one way of being able to upload the content. And then you also have the ability to export that content as well down to what might be a question bank, something you might want to allow your auditors, your stakeholders to review after you've developed it, or an answer key. So if you're going through and reviewing your course in ReviewLink and you want to have, a separate answer key to make sure you're able to test what happens when you answer your course or your test questions correctly versus incorrectly, you have the ability to do that as well. So just a quick example of this, if you're looking at a question, I'm going to jump into edit mode. You'll see I'm in Lectora Online here. It's just a nice way to be able to present and then show you the functionality at the same time. If I expand this and look at this particular question and look at the properties, I have this little CSV button that I can select. And this will allow me to save it down to a CSV file. And that way I can always reuse it, re-import it into another course if I want. We're all about the ability to reuse content, help you speed up that development time. And then the same goes for importing. So I can go to my test and survey ribbon, select import CSV, and I can choose which file to import. So we also have on our community some sample files for you, so you can see what that format looks like, how you want to go ahead and add the different values. You can choose to create it as a test, in which case it'll put it inside of a test so that all of those questions are graded. How you want to offset them on the page, so where you want to place those questions on the page so that you can account for your user interface, your title, your course title, your navigation, as well as the formatting of it as well. So if I go ahead and import that CSV file, you'll see that I've now very quickly and easily created 12 different questions, all different question types from multiple choice, entry, matching, and essay questions. So all of the different 12 question types that you can enter and create using a CSV file. So we think this is a really nice time-saving productivity booster that's part of Lectora Online, and it's also part of Lectora Inspire. Something else that we've brought recently to Lectora Online is an integration with BranchTrack. So whether it's eLearning Brothers or BranchTrack, we're always looking to bring our Lectora authors best-in-class tools to supplement and enhance their course development process. So BranchTrack is essentially an easy and very visual way to create sophisticated branching scenarios online. You're able to launch BranchTrack, which I'll show you in a moment, easily and quickly create those branching scenarios, and then download them directly into your course. You're also able to do things within Lectora like track the learner's selection path, be able to capture their score so that you can use that later on in the course to control other course behaviors or possibly things like remediation, for example. So let's look at a quick example that I created. I'll go back into run mode. And you can see what a typical branch track scenario might look like. So normally you'll have a character that you select. You can see that I even have kind of an emotion scale going on here. I'm tracking the path, so what my learner selects with all of the different branching scenarios and options available to me. And I'll be able to track the score as well. So here we have kind of a great customer service scenario. So branch track is great for any kind of that scenario-based learning when you want your learner to be able to choose and maybe fail or make mistakes in really kind of a trial type of scenario where that's okay and they can learn from that and see what those consequences might be. So here we can see, all right, we have an angry customer. What happens if we promote a new product? Well, I'm going to get a pretty bad score, and in turn, my customer is going to be pretty puzzled. And then I can replay this, and maybe this time around I've learned better. Let's see what happens if instead I listen. So we can see that now I have a really happy customer. I selected the correct answer. I've got 100 points. And I answered the scenario correctly. So this is essentially how your end users will interact with your branch track scenarios. If I come in here, I can select the branch track scenario and access its properties, and I can select Edit to open up the actual branch track tool. So in this case, I'm editing an existing scenario, and I can also, of course, create new scenarios. So there's a couple of different options you have. You can see here it's very visual to be able to add my scenes, add my choices, and determine what those consequences are. And I can come in and I can create a character. You'll find these characters look probably pretty familiar because they are consistent with the eLearning Brothers set of characters as well. So now you can really tie that into whatever templates or assets you're using from the eLearning Brothers in your course and create really consistent use of content and themes across your courses. And the same goes for the ability to select a background image. So you'll find that these look familiar to you as well. And then I come in and I enter in my questions and my choices. I can assign a character emotion, a score, as well as a color if I'd like. So it's very easy to do this. I won't get into too much detail because I have a lot to cover, but I just wanted to sort of introduce you to this, and we have plenty of recorded content and things like that if you're interested in learning more about that. Another integration that we're really excited to introduce with our recent update of Lectora Online that we just recently released in December is an integration with Trivantis VAST. So VAST is a product that we just launched, and essentially it is a digital asset management system. So it allows you to manage the design and development of assets, whether they're your graphics, your stock photography, your clip art, or your audio, your narration, your audio files, any kind of video clips that you're producing for your e-learning content. We understand that content increases and you start to have a lot of content. It can be really difficult to manage, and often folks are just really setting that aside on a shared drive and doing their best to keep folder structures in place, whereas a true asset management system could really be useful and valuable. So we've introduced this product, and we introduced an integration with Lectora Online as well. So what's really neat about this is I can come in to my Lectora Online course, and at any point I can access VAST. So you'll see here all of the different tools that we're talking about today. You can access from the Tools ribbon, and then we also have this nice bright green Tools button over here on the right that pulls out that same toolbar. So if I open VAST, I will have access to a slimmed down view of the full application, because here I'm really just here to consume the assets, not necessarily contribute to them or manage them. And I can come in and I can choose different photography. And I have two options here when it comes to downloading my assets. I can choose to download a copy, in which case it's very similar to importing a file from your system, and any changes you make will just stick with that course. Or I can choose to add a linked asset. And so what this means is that anytime I update the asset in the VAST platform, it will automatically update those assets anywhere it's used in my Lectora Online courses, or where it's hosted for my end users to access. So you can imagine if you have, the challenge of trying to manage those ongoing changes to assets over time. If you've got a rebrand that your marketing team is working on, or different models of products that are coming out, things that you really need to track compliance of and keep updated, this is a really great option for you. So something we're really excited about. And then last but certainly not least, in terms of our recent updates to Lectora Online, is our integration with the eLearning Brothers library. So we're absolutely thrilled that we're able to bring to our Lectora Online authors full access to the full eLearning Brothers template library, Cutout People library, and stock asset library. So that's, you know, games and interactions and navigation players and course starters. All of these are built in Lectora. So I'll show you in just a moment, when you add these to your course, you're adding full pre-built content. And we know it can sometimes be intimidating when you're going to create a course and you're staring at this blank screen and you think, where do I begin? So if you're a novice or new user of Lectora, being able to access those templates, those assets, those Cutout People is just going to get you started and get you rolling in your courses in no time. But even if you're a more intermediate or advanced user, what I really love, because I tend to fall on that side since it's my job to be a product expert, is I'm able to take inspiration from the templates, and I'm able to pick them apart and rebuild them and change just what I need, and really just sort of tweak the different aspects of the interactions and the games to my suiting. And so whatever level of experience you have in the product, the templates I think are just a huge time saver and value add. So let me show you how that works. I'm going to do that just quickly by opening up a new title so I don't mess with my existing presentation. All right, so let's name this title. And we'll go back to the Tools ribbon and select eLearning Brothers. And now, rather than having to even navigate out to the eLearning Brothers site, find what I need, download it, and then import it into my course, we've embedded it directly in Lectora Online. So I don't have to go anywhere. I just select eLearning Brothers from the Tools ribbon and select which library I want to get started with. So let me actually start with the stock assets. I can come in, just as if I was navigating through the website, I can search for something, look through all of the different results. And when I find something that I like, I just click download. It's just one click. That's all there is to it. So you can see I get this notification that the image has been added to my title. And if I close this out and take a look, indeed, that image has been added to my title. So that's really all there is to it. It's as easy as you saw. You just explore what you're looking for, find what you need, and click to add it to your title. And the same thing goes for the Cutout People. So here I can come in. Now we need to add maybe an office worker to our office environment. We can kind of navigate around, search what we're looking for. Eric looks good. And let's say we want, something of him where he's on his phone, looking at a tablet. And now I can actually choose which of the different sizes I want, which is also really nice. So this can really, you want to optimize the file size, especially if you're thinking about how you're distributing this on a mobile or a phone or a tablet, for example. And so in this case, we'll kind of pick a smaller version of him. And voila, he's been added to the title. So we just want to make sure that he's layered properly in our Title Explorer. So I'm going to put him on top of the office background image. Now he's standing on the table here, but I think you get the idea. He's extremely passionate about what he's doing. I can tell he's standing on the table. But in this case, that's all there is to it in terms of adding the Cutout People and adding the stock assets. So we take the same page when it comes to adding in any of the templates. I'll come into my templates library, and there's really so much to choose from, whether it's the course starters, which provide you with a nice kind of way to get started quickly with lots of different page layouts for your courses, or games, so for full kind of interactive games instead of using maybe a boring quiz or a test. And the interactions are ones that I really like using because it's just a nice, easy way to add interactivity to my course without necessarily having to build it myself. So what's nice is eLearning Brothers tends to put the newest ones on the top, so I'm able to come in and find something I like. I also really like that I can preview it before I choose to add it to my course. So I can actually see what this interaction looks like, how it works. And if I want to download it, I'm going to make sure I choose the right product. So in this case, I look for Lectora Online package file. And Lectora Online is going to create a new course with the template. So it's asking me to save my changes to this course because it's going to create a new title with that template.
So Laura, while that's importing, we do have a quick question here from Richard. He wants to know if there's been any, if you've seen any delays in loading vast assets when pushing it across an LMS, especially to remote users. Are you seeing any delays?
There should not be any delay in loading it, as long as the lines of communication in terms of the ability for that end user to access the link to where it's hosted, so it's not blacklisted or there's no kind of IP blocking, but there should not be any delay. No, that's going to be instantaneous. And then in terms of updating the asset, that might take maybe about 30 minutes or so tops, but that's pretty fast too. Good question.
All right, great.
Thanks. Anything else?
That's all that we have right now.
All right. Well, the last thing I want to mention just in terms of adding in these interactions, so you'll see that we've just added this one page, but if I expand the page, I've got shapes, I've got images, they're all in groups, I've got text, and what I really love is the eLearning Brothers will add directions and give me kind of a hint on how I want to change it. So if I really loved it as is, I might just want to double click on the text box and put in my own text. But if I, wanted to get fancy, I can select these different shapes. I can access their properties. I can change their colors and maybe put a gradient on it. If I wanted to change a background image or change one of these characters, I have the ability to do that because these are fully built in Lectora Online. They're not just a pre-packaged interaction. So I can come in and I can really change anything I like. And I think that's really, really valuable enhancement right there. So that's essentially what I wanted to show you in terms of what we've recently added to Lectora Online. Then I want to quickly show you a new feature to ReviewLink. So ReviewLink is an online responsive review tool, and it allows you to host your published courses and manage your feedback all in one place. So if you are an existing user of Lectora Online or Lectora Inspire, you already have access to ReviewLink. As soon as you click Publish to ReviewLink here, you're asked to put in your credentials. And you're also able to upload content from other authoring tools because we understand that you normally have a toolbox. And so as long as you can publish out to SCORM content, we also accept Storyline and Captivate content. You can put that up in ReviewLink as well. So you can still use one single review tool for all of your content, no matter where it comes from. So recently we've put in a device view toolbar. So you'll see that a lot of what we're doing here is to continue to enhance the ability to create responsive content. So it's very easy when you're in Lectora or Lectora Online to preview the different device types, whether it be a tablet, a phone, or a desktop, and whether the orientation is landscape or portrait. So we brought that to ReviewLink as well. So I'm going to go into ReviewLink and just quickly show you how that works. So I'm going to be logging in as a publisher. And here I'll be able to see all of the content that I've uploaded to ReviewLink and asked my reviewers to review. Does not like that today. All right, well, let me show you a screenshot so I don't waste too much of your time. And I'll come back and show you this at the end when I figure out my password. So as you can see here, when you launch a course in the ReviewLink launcher, you have access to this Views toolbar. So I can toggle very quickly between my phone, tablet, and desktop view. And I can also put in a custom view. So again, if you're using content from another authoring tool that might be a little bit more strict about its width and different device types that it allows, you can also put in those custom width and height here as well. And then what's nice is when you're able to, when you add a comment or your reviewers add a comment, we're going to capture what view it was submitted with, and then we'll show that back to you. So if you're looking at the comments tab here, you can see that I can sort by those different views, and I can also filter by those different views as well. So even if I'm exporting all of my comments to look at them later and manage them via CSV or a PDF file, I'll still have access to this. So if I want to just really focus on a specific device type or specific orientation, because I know the majority of my users are going to be accessing that content maybe through a mobile phone, or you're not so worried about a mobile phone. This is really going to help you to prioritize all the feedback that you're getting from your reviewers and your stakeholders and get you through that review process a lot more quickly. So that's just one little thing I wanted to show you in regard to Review Link. And then last but not least, I want to talk about the recent updates to Lectora Inspire. Lectora Inspire essentially is a bundle of tools. So we give you access to Lectora's powerful authoring tools, but we bundle it as well with industry's best-in-class tools. So whether it's video-based, scenario-based, responsive learning, access to content like what you get with the eLearning Brothers, that's what Lectora Inspire is going to offer you. We recently released Lectora 17.1 in December, and one of the things that we did with that is give you access to the stock asset library. So since I want to say Lectora 12.3, you've had access to the eLearning Brothers, template library, Cutout People library, and interaction builder. And now we're giving you access to the stock asset library as well. So as you saw when we were looking at it via Lectora Online, that's over 2 million stock assets that you get access to with no issues or concerns about royalties, permissions, talent usage rights. You add them to your course and you don't have to worry about it. So we're really excited about that. We had kind of minimal clip art before, but now 2 million stock assets. And that's not just the graphic illustrations that we were looking at before. eLearning Brothers offers you more than just the photos, but I really like kind of the background music and the sound effects and even kind of those video effects as well. So those are really nice to add into your course. Because Lectora Inspire also includes Camtasia, it's really easy to kind of edit those and add them to any kind of your video training that you're including in your Lectora course as well.
I think it would be worth it to add that there's loads and loads of Camtasia template assets as well in the eLearning Brothers library. So, having this access is just crazy awesome.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. I mean, I think the fact that everything just sort of comes together. You saw the way that the characters and the background images from Branch Track fit in with the themes that you get with eLearning Brothers, the fact that you have access to Camtasia so that you can really use the templates there. It's the same kind of ease of use that I showed you in Lectora Online. You just click Inspire Tools. I have Inspire open now and select eLearning Brothers, and then it just slides open and you select what you want. Click download and it's added right to your course. So it works really in the exact same way. A couple other options that we've added recently in Lectora Inspire is we added a new CMI 5 publish. So if your learning management system is requiring that you import through CMI 5 or you're ready to take on XAPI and the latest standards of publishing, we're ready to and we're right there with you. So it's just another publish option. So if you go into Lectora and you're on the home ribbon and you select publish, you'll now be able to select XAPI CMI 5. So we've made improvements to XAPI support to meet those CMI 5 standards. We also added a track course progress option to that publish option as well. Another thing we've done, and we were just talking about audio and video, is we've made it a lot easier to sync your events in one dialogue. So something that you can do in Lectora Inspire and Lectora Online is create events or markers within your video and then trigger actions to occur at those specific times. So here we're looking at just a basic MP4 video in Lectora Inspire, and I can select this Sync Events button from my Properties ribbon. When I do that, I can actually play the video. So this is about washing machine repair. And at any given point in time, I can select pause and click to add that event. And from here, I can choose which action I want to trigger. So you can see that there's, just a whole menu of different types of actions that you can use. So if you want to show some text on the page, maybe you want to pause the video and pull up a question and ask them if they're paying attention. In this case, I can even send a Zappy statement to say that they've experienced the video, or I might want to, set my course status to say that this page is now in progress, and maybe only once they finish the video, I'll say that they've actually completed the page, so it's considered done. There's a lot of different things and options that you can have. We've just made it a lot easier to do so that you can kind of get this process done a lot faster and more seamlessly. And then there's two other publish options I want to talk about that we've recently added to Lectora Inspire as well. The first one is what we call disable browser resize of published content. So this just means that for responsive titles, titles where you have different views that respond based on whether you're on a phone, a tablet, or a desktop or a computer, you can actually prevent your non-desktop views from being displayed when the browser window is resized. So what does this mean? It means that if I take my course and I publish it out as is, let me, not this course, sorry. Let's take my Lectora Inspire washing machine repair course. You can see it's a responsive course. If I were to publish it out without this option on and I decided to kind of scrub or resize the browser window, that the responsive piece would take effect. And so then I might be looking at my mobile view. This can be kind of nice if you're multitasking and you want to be able to take your course and maybe the upper right-hand corner of your screen and look at something else, or maybe a supporting resource on the other screen. So that's something you can do. But if you don't want that to happen and you don't want those different responsive views to take into effect, you can select Disable Browser Resize. And that just means that as you resize the window, you're still looking at the responsive view. So it's just a nice option to have depending on how you think this course is going to be best utilized for your users. You can see here when this loads, even though it's a responsive course and I'm resizing it, I'm still looking at that main desktop view. And then the other option that we added is another publish option. Scale content to fill window. And you can even choose if you want to fit the content to width. So this one I really love because, first of all, if you're someone who might be visually impaired and you're trying to create more accessible courses, or you're just kind of used to seeing that black or white rectangle around your course screen, this is going to get rid of that. So it's going to resize your course to really fit the size of the browser window, whatever that might be. And that just makes it a much more immersive learning experience, in my opinion. So let me publish that out and show you what that looks like. And there you go. So you can see that as I resize the window, it's going to stay in line with that browser window. But as long as I have my browser window maximized, so is my course. And so, to wrap up, those are some of the new options. You can see we've been incredibly busy adding enhancements and features, new integrations, ways to make better, more effective courses in less time to all of our products. And I promised you, Andrew, 30 minutes, so I think I've just about made it. And with that, I'll hand it back off to you, or happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Laura. We do have a few questions. One comes from Jonathan. Have they fixed the video player to support streaming video, not progressive download, but real streaming?
As long as you're able to insert a video and select streaming video, you should be able to import wherever that streaming video is from whatever streaming video server is, and that should work fine. If there's an issue with that, feel free to send me a note individually. I'll put my email in the chat, and happy to look into it for you.
Great. Another question is, did you say that you need to publish to XAPI to use the ability to add questions, comments, etc. to videos along the way? This is a cool new feature, but my LMS still only accepts SCORM 1.2, and that's from Laura.
Good question, Laura. No, as long as it doesn't matter what kind of HTML publisher you're using, if it's SCORM or just even HTML or XAPI, you can take advantage of these video events. So you can still use sync events, trigger whatever action you want. The only thing that was specific to XAPI that I showed you was the action to, in this case, send an XAPI statement. Otherwise, you can choose any other action within your video. Good question. And this applies to audio as well, not just video.
Awesome. Great, Laura. I'm going to go ahead and pass the screen over to Adam Cannon. He is the evangelist for Lectora here in the eLearning Brothers office. And what Adam will be talking to us today about is the what kind of assets are offered to Lectora users inside the eLearning Brothers library. So Adam, I'll go ahead and pass it over to you.
Great, thank you. So yeah, I mean, Laura's gone through quite a bit already, but we're going to go through and we're going to just show you kind of more in depth in the eLearning Brothers library. And so as you can see, I'm in Lectora Inspire. And so I open the Inspire tools and it slides open. And I've got in my eLearning Brothers tab here, I've got these 3 categories: templates, cutout people, and stock assets. And as I hover over the templates link, you see a whole plethora of different types of templates that we have. So I just wanted to run through those really quickly and maybe look at them for a few minutes. So the first one we have is called Lectora Course Starters. And what a course starter is essentially it's a group of slides, 20 to 30 slides kind of pre-packaged that give you a variety of different layouts. Usually they're themed, and you can see here that there's some that are kind of construction safety themed. There's some that are medical themed. There's kind of a comic book theme, different things like that. And we've themed them just to make them visually appealing. You can obviously go in and change the theming however you want. But the key thing is that they're a set of slides that are kind of pre-laid out for you. And you can go through and see the preview and see what's out there and see some of the things that come in a course starter. And it's really nice because if you're trying to build a course and you want to say, I need this course and it's going to be 40 slides long, these have some pre-built interactions in them. They have some pre-built layouts. They have, slide left, slide right, things like that. And so you can go through and download those and see them. And so if I just come in and download one, let me go grab, we'll grab this corporate one here and we'll download it. But essentially they give you, and then you can go through and change them however you see fit to bring them into your course. And so I can come in and I can see what's here. I can run into preview mode. So then we'll go back to, we'll go to run mode because preview mode's putting it on a different screen. So I can go through this and I can see that there's, a layout there and there's a different layout and a different cutout person. I can go in and change that cutout person, but very quickly, I already have some layouts and you see some transitions and some functionality in there. I have these navigation buttons and scrub bar pre-built in. And so that's what a course starter does for you, is it gives you that ability to kind of have some pre-built slides and kind of a master theming to it. So when we go into the layouts, this is a little bit kind of the same thing, just a little bit different. There's fewer slides here, and usually these are all just themed under a specific sort of look and feel to it. You can see again there, it's got several different title slides. These have a whole bunch of different outline slides so that you can go through and set them up. But again, these have elements built into them. And so it's really nice to utilize those as well. The interactions are just what they say. There's a whole different type of interactions. We've got drag and drop, we've got timeline, we've got knowledge check, multiple choice, scenarios. We've got even some games. This is a game that we've got that's in our, that you can watch it play here as they go through it, and you just see that it's giving you, it's kind of a Family Feud type of game where you can type in the answers and see and then it comes up here, and so you can configure that as you need to. And so there's a whole wide variety of these interactions that are in here. Some of them have a theme to them, like these new stone themed or this new shamrock theme. So you can pull multiple in and you don't have to convert them. But one thing I would caution you against is you look at our templates, don't just look at them and say, oh, this one has, doctors in it, or this one has, a race car in it. I can't use it because I don't have anything to do with race cars. Look at the functionality of them. Look at what's kind of under under the images and the graphics and look what's there and see what they can do for you, because there's a lot there. Sometimes we just theme them so that you can get a feel for it in whatever context. We have a whole bunch of games, 19 different games that you can bring into your course, different versions of trivia games. There's kind of this millionaire, which is like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game. There's a parachute game, which is kind of a word search. There's a crossword, a whole bunch of different things that you can bring in to make your quizzing and to add some gamification to your courses.
There's a quick question here, Adam.
Okay.
The interactions and other interactivities, are these available in Flash only, or are they available in HTML too?
No, these are just interactions. These come in pre-built in Lectora, so whatever your Lectora will do, they come in, they're Lectora built, and so you can then publish them out to HTML or Flash. These aren't pre-built in, pre-built Flash games. They're not widgets, so to speak.
Not pre-published.
Right, they're not pre-published. A lot of times we think about a widget as something we bring in and it's a Flash interaction that we put in the course that then it requires Flash to run. These are actually interactions that you can bring in, and if I come in and download this one, it brings it right into my slide, and I can come in here and I can see that it's here, and I can edit any of the slides, any of the buttons, any of the things that are on there. I can do whatever, and I can edit it however I need to, and then I publish it however I need to as well. So that's kind of the interactions. The navigation players just gives you a skin that you can wrap onto your Lectora. So this has some of the pre-built navigation buttons and tools, kind of pre-built, so that outer wrapper, that skin that goes on your project. So if you don't want to build your own buttons or build your own player, you can add ours in. And then we have scenarios that are, again, these are kind of branching type of things, sort of a choose your own adventure. You come in, a lot of them have two people or a couple people talking, some different things that you can do to grab them. And again, these are very easy to customize and to skin them however you want. If you don't like your color schemes or the person, you can go grab different ones and bring them in. But we have some good ones that are, computer and social media looking, and there's a phone looking one. There's, again, don't get caught up in what the look and feel is necessarily, but there are some there that you can use. I can't tell you how many times I've had people contact me and say, hey, do you have a template that is skinned for this industry? And I say, well, any template theoretically can be skinned for that industry. We just need to look at what you want it to do. And so those are some of the Lectora templates we've got. You can also, like Andrew talked about and Laura talked about, we've also got a whole bunch of Camtasia templates that you can bring in. I'll let you go through some of these things. There's even this other category that's really nice. It's got a whole bunch of little small bits and background textures, buttons, arrows, even just some environment images that you can bring in. If you want to bring in an office and kind of give an office background, some things like that, you can do that. So don't overlook that bottom category there, that other category. Sometimes that gets overlooked. Let's jump over to Cutout People. One of the nice things is we have, thousands upon thousands of images of Cutout People in various poses. You can see already on the front page, they're kind of divided by into some basic categories. But if I wanted to come in and just say, I want to just look at all industry, I come in here and you can see already that because I selected all industry, up here across the top, I've got some different filters that I can apply to things. I can go in and I can say, I want to see certain things, and I can uncheck or check them. And then as I do that, I see more and more. If I would uncheck them all, if I want to see all illustrations and photo. So now I've got them all, I can come in and I can start to choose. If I say I want, a teenager whose gender is female, whose hair length is short, I come up here with Caitlin, who, has 5 different styles, whether she's a schoolgirl or refereeing a game or a chef or whatever. We've got, and each of those has then hundreds of poses. So there's a whole bunch of poses that I can come in, and with each of those poses, then there are sizes. So if I say I like, this one of her talking on a phone, I can now see that there's 4 different sizes I can download in as well and bring those in. So it's important to notice that in, you've got all these, this ability to search through and really specify down what you're doing, even in terms of the body, whether it's standing, facing forward, some props that they're holding. If you want them holding a clipboard, I can come in and say, show me everyone holding a clipboard. I can choose what industry I want. I can do all kinds of things to select those cutout people. And if I would just want illustrations, I can get rid of, that and see what all my illustrations are, if I add any. So, all that kind of stuff. And so I can do some very granular searching there. Also to remember on the cutout people that we have, photo illustrated and cartoon people that you can bring in as well and then videos. And these videos come with either they come preloaded, and there's dozens of these as well. I've got this Andrew that, he's got some fun things that he's doing. He's got a dance that he does. And, so these are preloaded in that you can go grab the videos. There's also some Camtasia characters that you can go in and grab as well. And these are pre-built, looks like packages that you can download in. And so you have a whole bunch of states that they can come into. And as Laura mentioned, we also have stock assets, and we have images and graphics, we have audio, and we have video. And there's a huge variety here that you can come in and you can search for. If I come in and I say I want, a bus, I can do a search for a bus. And it's going to go out. And then again, I have filters that I can put on here. If I want to say I don't want any people to be in the picture, I can go through, I can say the aspect, I want it to be horizontal. The art characteristics, I want it on a transparent background, so there's 1. And so there I've narrowed it down to that bus. So I can get rid of all those if I want. I can say, okay, there's some bus logos and some that are more square or vertical. I can get rid of ones that have, might have some people in them. I can get rid of the transparent backgrounds. And you notice as each time you go, it gives you a results match here. And then the nice thing about this too is if I click on one and I say, I like this one, I can come in here. There's sometimes different sizes. If I like this style, I can look at other ones by the same artist or the same photographer, same group. And so I can come in and say, okay, let's look at what else is out there. And so that's really nice. The audio is the same thing. There's dozens of, all sorts of moods and genres of music. There's sound effects that I can bring in. If I wanted to bring in a flight sound effect. And the nice thing is I can hover over it and I can hear it when I hover over it. And there's some great videos as well that you can get. You can get, After Effects, some different things. When I go back to the video, I can see different backgrounds. Maybe I want to see a music background. And so this is taking a minute to load inside of here, but.
So the stock video library is the Video Blocks library, which you guys may have heard of. It's a really large and extensive library, so it's very, very valuable if you're going to be getting some sort of motion in your background, or if you want a video to be a focus. Really useful, really large.
Okay, and then just going back to that earlier question, you can see that we do have some pre-built Flash games and quizzes and interactions that that are the widgets that you can bring in as well. So that's kind of a real quick review of the eLearning Brothers library and sort of what it does for you. There's a lot more out there on our website that's outside of it if you wanted to look out there, as well as lots of other services and things we offer, like a one-on-one mentoring where you can get a hold of us and one of our experts, whether that's me or somebody else, will sit down with you, go through your course, through your files, within a screen share or whatever, and walk you through whatever problems you have in about an hour-long session. So feel free to browse through and look at all that's out there. But I think there's a lot of good things that we provide for you that can really help you in your Lectora course publishing.
Great. Thank you so much, Adam. I do want to pass the screen back to Laura for a moment. We've got a few questions for you. So let me pass the control back to you here. This question came in from Jan. They want to know, she says, I wanted to try using the scale content to fill window publishing option. The title has been grayed out, so I cannot select that. What would cause that to be disabled? And she's on Lectora 17.1.1. And it looks like you're muted, Laura.
Thank you. Yes. The reason would be whether or not it is a responsive course or not. So if it is a responsive course, you may not have that option, depending on the kind of course type that you're using. Do you know what type of course it is? Is it responsive or not responsive? She's able to respond.
It is a responsive course.
Okay, so that might be the issue why. It's for non-responsive courses.
Okay, great. Another question is, do eLearning Brothers assets all work on older versions of Lectora? Do you have to have the newest version? And what is the asset difference between, or asset access difference between the online and Inspire?
Good question. So as long as you are on Lectora 17 and above, you will have access to the template library, the Cutout People library, and the stock asset library. If you are on earlier versions of Lectora Inspire, you will have access to the template library, the Cutout People library, and the interaction builder. Lectora Online has the same access as the latest version of Lectora Inspire, template library, Cutout People library, and stock asset library. I think that answers the question, hopefully.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's great. We're running out of time here. I'll go ahead and close off the questions for now. If you want to continue this conversation, by all means, reach out to Laura at Trivantis. You can reach out to eLearning Brothers. You can reach out at info@elearningbrothers.com. And where can they reach you, Laura?
You can go to info@trivantis.com.
Okay, so go ahead and just reach out to us if you have further questions. We're happy to answer your questions and help you get to the newest versions of Lectora so that you have the most access to eLearning Brothers assets and other assets. I mean, there's loads of assets that come included with Lectora. Definitely worth taking a look at. Thank you so much, Laura, for visiting with us. And thanks, Adam, for your knowledge about the asset library. We have more webinars coming each month. Don't forget to check those out. You can go to elearningbrothers.com/events and find out what future webinars we've got coming up and other events that we'll be at. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you next time.